let's talk about the forecast and start off with the Dow Jones. I have the Dow on the screen here. And what did you want to review with the forecast 22 analysis?
Is this the day? This is a daily chart. Okay,
Yes,
so notice how the all-time high was January 5th.
Yep.
So one of the things we talked about in the forecast book, which was written in November, late October through mid-November. You wrote articles about it. I wrote articles about it. We had to have everything in by November 15th to the printer, and we pointed out that the economy and the stock market looked to be very, very close to their high. As we enter the early part of 2022, and I think the most interesting thing, the most fascinating thing, was a study that I shared with in that book, where the average gain of a 4-year cycle has been 103.2%, and that would come out to something like 37,000 in the low 37,122. And where was the high? It was 102.8%. It was so close to the average of all 4-year highs in the time band that we're looking at, which is the early part of 2022. So that was pretty remarkable call that we had there.
Indeed.
In the gold market, okay, our call in the gold market, our forecast in the gold market was for the to see a high of 2075, give or take 47.50.
That's pretty close, right?
And the high was 2078.
Yeah,
not bad.
Not bad.
Okay,
I don't think
so we did okay there.
Yeah.
We also had
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. That was an interesting one because we wrote this before the high. Bitcoin was early. We wrote that in early November.
Yeah.
And there we had Bitcoin making a high very soon and then dropping 55 to 93%.
Yeah.
And it actually dropped 74.5%.
Right.
So that was a good hit. You called a good one in the crude oil. You caught a couple of good ones. The crude oil. You were looking for crude oil to get up to 105 to 115, and if it took that out, 140 to 145. Well, it got right in the middle there.
Yeah, right.
Got to 130, 50. That was an excellent call, Johnny, and that was on March 7th. And I think even more fascinating was a call that you made in the corn market. You said if corn can take out 680 to 700, then look for it to get to 820 plus or minus 20 as being the high likely for 2022. And there it is. The high is 824 on August 29th. Excellent call, Johnny.
Not a bad call. Thank
you.
So
I think it's really fascinating that we hit so many of these things. We're forecasters, we're not crystal ball readers,
right?
But yet the forecasts we make, the ranges we make, the time bands we make are pretty consistent because they're based upon actual studies in history correlating geocosmic signatures to highs and lows in the financial markets. And we're going to do that again in 2023. You're going to write your sections. I'll write my sections. Ulrich will write his sections. And we'll cover a lot of the same markets. We'll cover all those markets. Plus, we're going to cover the economy and the different aspects of society that are social things that are happening too. For instance, COVID-19, we were looking at that April 12th, Jupiter, Neptune. And our statements at that point was that we would look for Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, both sides of the story, increased freedom to move about and tendencies to see carelessness where the contagion spreads. And we got both. And it was right around that time in April. They lifted the restrictions, and the new variants of COVID have become very dominant in society. We talked about inflation in the economy, and I think inflation at the end of the year, or when we wrote this in October, November, was probably around 5 or 6%.
Yeah, that's my recollection.
And we're looking for 10%. We're getting close to it.
9.1 in June. So we'll see. Next week we have the inflation number, so we'll see how close we get.
And we said that would indicate that the world economy may continue to fall short of its economic projections for the year. And every projection they made, they've lowered their forecast. Every month it's been lowered. So we also had the weather we called pretty well. Regarding war, we said the world may witness yet another serious conflict in 2022, 2023. Well, we're certainly in one of those.
About that.
So there are many things like that that oh, President Joe Biden, that was an interesting one too. What do we have here? The transit of Uranus in opposition to his natal Mars would indicate critical decisions he'd have to make this year regarding the military.
Yeah.
He had some very critical decisions. It was a little bit slow getting going, but he finally got on board, and he's still making critical decisions involving the military, and he probably will for a few more months.
Yeah.
So we'll cover all these subjects and more in the Forecast 2023, was just opened this week, August 2nd, the sales period, the discount period. If you're interested in Forecast 2023, what we think about that, and also getting the only discount of the year we offer on our subscription reports, this is the time to take advantage of it by going to our website, www.mmacycles.com. Get the discount while it's in effect on the book and the subscription reports.